All right, so here we are. It's Kim with Guide to the Good, and we are here for the next episode of Looks Like Social Enterprise. I'm Kim Todd, Guide to the Good. We also have Nicole Daw, the Executive Director of the Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador, there, and Stacy Hoff with the Mokami Status of Women's Council. So, yes, we're here. This is great. Looks like social enterprise. So why don't we all introduce ourselves a little bit? I've said my part, so perhaps, Nicole, you'll go right ahead.
I can. Thank you, Kim, and thank you for partnering with us on this amazing series to share the great work that's happening in social enterprise and in community organizations, particularly through the this round of the Investment Readiness Program. So I am Nicole Daw. I'm currently stewarding the Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador. The Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador facilitates community-led philanthropy in the province. We are part of the Community Foundations of Canada network. There's over 200 of us across the country that are all doing this great places philanthropy work to try and just make communities even better places. So really excited to be here. And today we have Stacy, as Kim just said, joining us from Mokami. They were one of the granting recipients in the Investment Readiness Program for this round. And Stacy, I'd love if you just shared a little bit more about what Mokami does.
Sure, yeah. Thanks so much for having us. So Mokami Status of Women Council is an equity serving or an equity seeking organization located in Happy Valley Goose Bay, Labrador. We support women and gender diverse folks in our community, and we operate three main programs. So probably our most popular is our Women's Center. So our Women's Center offers system navigation support, arts and wellness programming, cultural programming. It's a safe place where people can stop by, grab a cup of tea, sit on our comfy couches and have a chat and access some support. And we also have a quite popular and well-used personal care program, which we support over 100 women and gender diverse folks per month through that program, giving out supplies such as shampoo, conditioner, pads, tampons, and baby items like diapers, baby wash, baby shampoo, things like that. So that's our Women's Center in the same building where it's kind of a busy spot. On our main level is our social enterprise, Thrifty Fashions. Thrifties is actually 39 years old. It's been around, yeah. We are nearing our 40th anniversary, which is pretty incredible. So we have some exciting plans coming, certainly in the next year to celebrate that. But yeah, Thrifty Fashions is a clothing thrift store, and we have a very generous community who donates clothing items and housewares. And then we resell, and the money that we make goes back into programming and services through our Women's Center, which is very cool. And a recent update, in addition to our social enterprise, is the addition of a supportive employment program. So that's new for us, the first time in 39 years. So this past September, we partnered with Choices for Youth to create a supportive employment program where we now have 5 young women working in the store and have really done an incredible job and have taken it on as a little passion project of their own. But they're also receiving supports for us, and we're addressing any barriers that have shown up in their lives in terms of accessing and sustaining meaningful employment, which is pretty cool. And then last but not least is our supportive living program, again in the same building. So at the back of our building, we have 8 apartment units. We currently have 9 residents in those 8 apartment units. Another anniversary, I guess, to recognize is our supportive living program just celebrated 10 years.
Wow.
So that's very exciting. Yeah, so the folks that end up being residents are women and gender diverse folks who have experienced homelessness, violence, gender-based violence, intergenerational trauma, struggling with mental health and addictions, or just can't find affordable and safe housing. So through this program, they have access to 24/7 supports. We have a wonderful team of people who are working there all the time, and a social worker who oversees the program and provides individual and group supports as well to meet folks where they're at and address, help them kind of figure out the path forward, and building confidence and addressing any of the goals that they feel is best for them.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
From the social enterprise perspective, all the work going into generating revenue that's supporting the program, that the programs that you're running, it's
Yeah.
great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Nicole, there's so many wonderful things about all the work that Mokami is doing, but how does that tie into what the investment readiness program and what CFNL is doing?
Yeah, thanks, Kim. So the investment readiness program is an initiative funded by the Government of Canada that's really meant to build capacity in social purpose organizations. So that includes nonprofits, charities, social enterprises, cooperatives, all sorts of ways that people are doing that work. But to build their capacity around earned revenue, and for eventually some of them to lead towards social finance. So that's where they're taking on some type of financing that would be repayable in some way. So that's coming out of the Social Finance Fund and the Social Innovation Strategy for the Government of Canada. And the Government of Canada partnered with a number of organizations across the country, including the Community Foundations of Canada, to help in granting the funds out through the Investment Readiness Program. So yeah, the Investment Readiness Program, again, is really focused on capacity building and earned revenue, and then social finance related to social, environmental, and cultural challenges that communities are dealing with. So in this round, the Community Foundation and Labrador funded 9 organizations, one of them being Mokami and their second stage housing project. And we hear, I think, a lot every day in our communities, in the media, about the challenges that we're experiencing in housing in this province and across the country. And so Mokami's proposal and what they were looking at and how they were going about it, again, those great, that wraparound kind of support that they give to community members and that they really do it in community, was just a really strong application, and we were thrilled to be able to give them the funds to do this work. So Stacey, if you wouldn't mind telling us a bit more about the project and where you are with it, and yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. So yeah, in all 3 of the programs we're operating, we have these strategic goals that we want to reach, and we're seeing a lot of growth in each of those programs right now. The supportive living program in particular, as I mentioned, just reached its 10-year anniversary. And I think pretty quickly into starting that program, folks realized some of the challenges that existed while the program is fantastic and amazing and has supported and is supporting a lot of women and gender diverse folks. We quickly realized what happens next. And so that's where the conversation came around Mokami looking to explore second stage housing opportunities. So we're really excited to have this funding to really start that process.
Amazing. And what is that? Obviously, that's a big piece of like what comes next as folks move out of the great supportive environment you have for them. What are some of those things that you're digging into around that?
Yeah. So what we're noticing is that because our program is such an intensive type of support, it really kind of allows people to escalate their healing, and because they're just surrounded by all these wraparound supports. And I think maybe you kind of piece that together through all our programs and services. It's really a holistic model, and it's a person-centered model that we use. So I think we're really positioned well to expand into this second stage housing project now. So what we're seeing is that as women and gender diverse folks kind of navigate through our supportive living program, access the supports they need, identify their own goals, and get to a point where they really could move on to live more independently and have more autonomy in their housing and their schedule and things like that. We're noticing barriers like transportation, lack of housing stock that exists in Goose Bay, and lack of affordable housing is probably the biggest one. So it's one of the reasons why initially the supportive living program was intended, and it still is intended, to be a transitional type program, but we don't put a timeline on that. And the reason is, if we said this is a 3-year program, we'd likely be putting people back out on the trails or into unsafe living situations. So it's really why we want to find ways to invest in second stage housing, so that when people feel that they're ready for that next step, we have that next step available for them. And what we're kind of envisioning is, again, something more independent, off-site, but still access to supports and a connection to our community for whatever that looks like for them.
Wow.
That's
Thank you.
From the social enterprise perspective, people pay rent to be for the yeah
exactly.
Amazing.
So we currently in our supportive living program, our apartments range from $500 to $550 per month, and that depends on what size unit it is. We have 4 1-bedroom units, 4 2-bedroom units, and every resident is kind of in a different position. So we're really flexible and, again, person-centered, and work with them to figure out how that rent is paid. For some, that means working with income support to make that happen. Other residents are working, and so we figure out a payment schedule that works for them. And so similarly, if we were, when we move into second stage housing, we'll be able to facilitate the same sort of setup.
Amazing. Yeah. The things that work to help build, happy, healthy communities. It's a wonderful thing. So when people want to support your work, how can they do that? What are some of the ways what can people do to help?
Yeah, but I have many ways. Before I get into that, I do want to give a quick shout out to Common Good Solutions, who are a consultant. Yeah, they're a consultant that we're working with now because of this IRP funding that we received. They're doing fantastic work. We're meeting with them regularly, and our consultant is actually heading to Happy Valley Goose Bay beginning of July, and are going to be meeting with our team, our residents, our community, important stakeholders, and really start to help us develop a plan of how to make this a reality. So wanted to give them a quick shout out and a big thank you for all the work they've done so far. And in terms of supporting Mokami, I think there's a few ways that folks can do that. Certainly donations go a long way, either financial contributions or also product, material, resource donations. So I mentioned our personal care product program. So things, as I mentioned, shampoo, conditioner, pads, tampons, any sort of personal care items. We really have a lot of gratitude for folks who are able to donate those items to us, but also through our social enterprise, Thrifty Fashion. So if folks have any items they'd like to donate, that would be great. And also shopping at Thrifty's. Yeah, come shop at Thrifty's. We have a great selection. It's a really cool vibe. It's a fantastic team. We're really proud to really find ways to embrace inclusivity and diversity through our store. So we actually intentionally do not sort items by gender anymore. We sort by type as a way of just recognizing that clothing doesn't have a gender, and your style doesn't have a gender. So yeah, we like to think it's a really warm and cool space to be. So come on by and check us out.
Awesome.
Once I know through like some of the work with Common Good and all of the ways you're bringing people together to think about what this stage piece could look like, we can't wait to hear on how we can support that work, because we know it's really, really important for the work that you do in that area.
Thanks so much. Yeah, we're super excited.
So much good work going around. So Nicole, maybe you can tell us another fun fact about the Community Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador, because people don't really know all of the great things that CFNL is doing all the time.
Thanks, Kim. And I'm glad we spend most of these like focusing on the magic like Stacey and folks are doing in community. I'm also happy to share a little bit about what we do in case Again, there's lots of ways that we support community-led philanthropy, and so if there is a philanthropy side solution potentially to things, always open to conversations on how we can support with that. But today I thought we'd just share one of the big pieces we do is around stewarding funds. We have almost 40 funds that we steward, and about half of those are related to scholarships and awards. So last year we had 18 scholarships that went out to communities across Newfoundland and Labrador, a little more than $20,000 that went out through those. So that goes from the David Stone Memorial Scholarship in Port aux Basques to a new scholarship that was launched last year on Bell Island for the high school there. So the Leonard and Doris Clark Memorial Scholarship, where there's $5,000 that are going out in scholarships and awards to students graduating from Bell Island. So just an immense amount of gratitude to all of the folks who work in the high schools to make great decisions on how of those scholarships should be awarded, and then the donors who have been so generous to help with having the funding to let them do that work.
Amazing. So just to be really clear about the scholarships. So all these scholarships that people, we hear about people getting, often if somebody wanted to start one, Community Foundation Newfoundland and Labrador would be a good place to start that conversation if they wanted to start a new one.
It could be. We can let you know.
Yeah.
The ones that again make sense with us is usually if you want it to be linked to a specific high school, or you want it to be linked to not any school at all. Obviously, if you were thinking about wanting to support a specific educational institution, we have lots of great ones in the country. It's better to talk directly with them. But if you want it to kind of go across a lot of different educational worlds, like post-secondary options that people can choose, we can definitely support with that.
Awesome. So supporting scholarships, helping organizations like Mokami do the amazing things that they're doing for women and gender diverse folks in the Happy Valley Goose Bay area. Hooray! It's wonderful. Do we have any parting words before we sign up?
Just to recognize that tomorrow is National Indigenous Peoples Day, so a great day to celebrate the amazing contributions from Indigenous people across Canada. So I know we put on our social media, I know Mokami is partnering on an event in Happy Valley Goose Bay. There's amazing events by First Light in St. John's. I know Halibu has some events in Corner Brook, and we have lots of amazing Indigenous communities across the province. And there's probably things happening in your neck of the woods that you can check out tomorrow to celebrate Indigenous people.
Awesome. How about you, Stacey? Anything to throw in at the end?
Just a great big thank you. We're really excited at this potential growth, and we know it's going to save lives and change lives. And again, it's something that our organization has really been dreaming of for a while. So it finally feels like this is the next step in making that a reality. So we're very excited and very grateful.
God to the Good is very excited and grateful too. Thank you, Stacey, for being with Nicole and I today, and thank you to the Community Foundation Newfoundland and Labrador for your support in creating this project with God to the Good. You will be able to see this live stream and the other live streams from the other social enterprises throughout the province on the Guide to the Good Looks Like Social Enterprise page that is being updated and will eventually include this one as well. The next one we're going to do, though, because I think we're taking the summer off, hey, Nicole?
Yes, everyone, please, if you can, find time for rest and reflection this summer. And we're going to do a little bit of that with this series, too.
We're going to be back. The next one scheduled is Quadrangle NL, and that is going to be on the 27th of September 2003. Meanwhile, please follow Guide to the Good, www.guidetothegood.ca, all the social bits where we can share great stories of social enterprise throughout this province, because good things are happening, and thanks to organizations like CFNL and Mokami, they are so free. Thanks, everybody.
For making all this together and all the great work that you do too.
Thank you so much. All right, take care. Bye.